Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.
We must reject the idea that every time a law is broken, society is guilty rather than the lawbreaker. It is time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions. The New Deal is plainly an attempt to achieve a working socialism and avert a social collapse in America. It is extraordinarily parallel to the successive policies and plans of the Russian experiment. Americans shirk the word socialism, but what else can one call it? We have this American president, Obama, born of an African father, who is saying we will not give you aid if you don't embrace homosexuality. We ask, was he born out of homosexuality? We need continuity in our race, and that comes from the woman, and no to homosexuality. My natural accent is American. I chose to speak with a UK accent when I was about to enter the final year at drama school in London. I was going to try to find a way to stay in the UK after I finished college and could not imagine trying to live and get work there with an American accent. As Trade Secretary, I see the world is waiting. The Australians, the Americans, the Kiwis, the Japanese, they all want us to get Brexit done so that we can begin negotiations and forge new relationships that will open up new markets for British businesses, create jobs and attract new investment. The great thing about American women is their energy and the way they love to dress. French women don't really dress, they are too conservative, as it's always a question of money. In America, women are powerful and strong, determined. If they want to be an object, they chose to be in control. Let reverence for the laws be breathed by every American mother to the lisping babe that prattles on her lap. Let it be taught in schools, in seminaries, and in colleges. Let it be written in primers, spelling books, and in almanacs. Let it be preached from the pulpit, proclaimed in legislative halls, and enforced in courts of justice. If you were successful, somebody along the line gave you some help. Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we have that allowed you to thrive. Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you've got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen. One of the reasons inequality gets so deep in this country is that everyone wants to be rich. That's the American ideal. Poor people don't like talking about poverty because even though they might live in the projects surrounded by other poor people and have, like, $10 in the bank, they don't like to think of themselves as poor. I greatly enjoyed the Hawaiian Islands. They are a real little paradise in spite of the influx of Americans who have made it one of their most pleasant centers of resort. The soft climate and luxuriance of the tropics, the greenness, the fragrance, the flowers. Extraordinary flowers covering the tallest trees and turning them into huge bouquets. We need someone who will stand up and speak out for the people who need help, for people who are being discriminated against, and it doesn't matter whether they are black or white, Latino, Asian or Native American, whether they are straight or gay, Muslim, Christian, or Jews. If we despond, public confidence is destroyed. The people will no longer yield their support to a hopeless contest, and American liberty is no more. Through the darkness which shrouds our prospects, the arc of safety is visible. Despondency becomes not the dignity of our cause, nor the character of those who are its supporters. I see Americans of every party, every background, every faith to believe that we are stronger together, black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, young, old, gay, straight men, women, folks with disabilities, all pledging allegiance under the same proud flag to this big, bold country that we love. That's what I see. That's the America I know. I don't think that people generally realize what the motion picture industry has done to the American Indian. As a matter of fact, all ethnic groups, all minorities, all non-whites, people just simply don't realize. They take it for granted that that's the way people are going to be presented and that these cliches are just going to be perpetuated. It is easy to romanticize poverty, to see poor people as inherently lacking agency and will. It is easy to strip them of human dignity, to reduce them to objects of pity. This has never been clearer than in the view of Africa from the American media, in which we are shown poverty and conflicts without any context. My dad's from that generation, like a lot of immigrants, where he feels like if you come to this country, you pay this thing like the American dream tax, like you're going to endure some racism, and if it doesn't cost you your life, well hey, you lucked out, pay it, there you go, Uncle Sam. I was born here, so I actually had the audacity of equality. I've got one grandson gone to MIT, another grandson had been in the American school here, because he was dyslexic, and we then didn't have the teachers to teach him how to overcome or cope with his dyslexia. So he was given exemption to go to the American school. He speaks like an American. He's going to Wharton. U.S. leadership has been rooted not just in our own belief in American exceptionalism but in the faith of others around the world. By so wantonly discarding that principle, the Trump administration has done incredible harm to the families they have separated through the state-sponsored child abuse that has been carried out in our name. A British porch is a musty, forbidding non-room in which to fling a sodden umbrella or muddy pair of boots a guard against the elements and strangers. By contrast, the good all-American front porch seems to stand for positivity and openness, a platform from which to welcome or wave farewell, a place where things of significance could happen. Maybe you weren't born with the silver spoon in your mouth, but like every American, You carry a deed to 635 million acres of public lands. That's right, even if you don't own a house or the latest computer on the market, you own Yosemite, Yellowstone, the Grand Canyon, Golden Gate National Recreation Area, and many other natural treasures. My parents didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up. We were comfortable, but I didn't go to Oxbridge, and yet every American interviewer I get says to me, "You're related to Charles too. Your grandfather was a baronet." And it's infuriating, because that is a part of my history, but you're trying to turn me into a posh boy, and I'm not. Americans, they want to go 600 miles an hour, and they don't know how to walk. Look at them in the street, bent over, coughing, young men with gray faces. Why can't they look at the animals? Look at a cat, look at any animal. The only animal that doesn't hold its stomach in is the pig. When I did Bird, it was a surprise to some people, first because I wasn't in it and second because most of the films I'd been doing were cop movies or westerns or adventure films, so to be doing one about Charlie Parker, who was a great influence on American music, was a great thrill for me. The real truth is that the Obama administration is professional at bullying, as we have witnessed with Acorn at work during the presidential campaign. It seems to me they are sending down their bullies to create fist fights among average American citizens who don't want a government-run healthcare plan forced upon them. For more than 4 decades, the Libyan people have been ruled by a tyrant, Muammar Gaddafi. He has denied his people freedom, exploited their wealth, murdered opponents at home and abroad, and terrorized innocent people around the world, including Americans who were killed by Libyan agents. I was born in 1928, so in 1943, 1944, we had the war in Rome. There were a lot of hardships, a lack of food, many shortages. So when I worked with the Americans, the English, and the Canadians soon after the war, when I played with them, they paid me with food. That will give you an idea how widespread poverty was at that time. It has long been said the only things in life that are certain are death and taxes. Automatic enrollment for insurance of 401k loans would add an additional certainty. Fewer Americans would suffer the unnecessary loss of retirement savings due to unanticipated and untimely misfortune in an already stressful time of need. I never take for granted how lucky I am to be an American and what a privilege it is to spend each day at a non-profit dedicated to helping the next generation of girls achieve their dreams. My journey, as the daughter of refugees, shows what refugees and the children of refugees can create for all Americans. I started collecting aerial photographs of Native American and South Pacific architecture. Only the African ones were fractal, and if you think about it, All these different societies have different geometric design themes that they use, so Native Americans use a combination of circular symmetry and fourfold symmetry. The legal principle placing the burden of proof on accusers rather than the accused can be traced back to 2nd and 3rd century Roman jurist Julius Paulus Prudentissimus. Yet, this ancient concept, which forms the legal and moral cornerstone of the American judicial system, is quickly being undermined in the name of national security. One of our books has been made into a musical, The Great American Mouseicle, which I directed at the Goodspeed Opera House in Connecticut, and another, Simeon's Gift, has been adapted for a symphony orchestra and 5 performers. I'm also a very proud member of the board of the Los Angeles Philharmonic. During the Great Depression, levels of crime actually dropped. During the 1920s, when life was free and easy, so was crime. During the 1930s, when the entire American economy fell into a government-owned alligator mode, crime was nearly non-existent. During the 1950s and 1960s, when the economy was excellent, crime rose again. To the Parisians, and especially to the children, all Americans are now heroes to cinema. This is particularly disconcerting to sensitive war correspondents, if any, aware, as they are, that these innocent things belong to those American combat troops who won the beachhead and then made the breakthrough. There are few such men in Paris. Maybe you weren't born with the silver spoon in your mouth, but like every American, you carry a deed to 635 million acres of public lands. That's right, even if you don't own a house or the latest computer on the market, you own Yosemite, Yellowstone, the Grand Canyon, Golden Gate National Recreation Area, and many other natural treasures. Yes, my fellow citizens, despite what the original Constitution of the United States says about the qualifications for statehood and the guarantee of representation in Congress, by every measure that truly matters in America, bigness, crowdedness, awesomeness, Texasness, Nebraska doesn't deserve its star on the American flag. This is the question I'm asking. Do Americans live twice as long because they consume twice as much energy as Europeans? Are you people twice as smart as the average Frenchman? Do you enjoy life twice as much as the average Danish guy? What have we gotten for consuming twice as much energy as Europe? What have we gotten in return? Policy is no longer being written by politicians accountable to the American public. Instead, policies concerning the defense budget, deregulation, healthcare, public transportation, job training programs, and a host of other crucial areas are now largely written by lobbyists who represent megacorporations. Mothers have always held such symbolic weight in determining a person's worth. Your mother tongue, your motherland, your mother's values, These things can qualify or disqualify you from attaining myriad American dreams: love, fluency, citizenship, legitimacy, acceptance, success, freedom. I left my husband a year after 9/11, not because he was an American and I'm Egyptian. Nothing to do with culture or religion, nothing to do with 9/11. We brought out the worst in each other, but before we separated, we visited NYC one more time together for our friend's engagement, and we went to pay our respects at the site of the attacks. The white usurpation in our common country must be stopped, or we, its rightful owners, be forever destroyed and wiped out as a race of people. I am now at the head of many warriors backed by the strong arm of English soldiers, Choctaws and Chickasaws. You have too long borne with grievous usurpation inflicted by the arrogant Americans.
Thank you for watching.